those teams play great defense. There's the jumper from Spencer Dinwiddie. He ties it. Arguably the best point guard in the city section on his way to Colorado. Everything running through number 25, Dinwiddie. Again, he's on his way to the Pac-12 to play for Colorado. It's a nice screen from C.J. Blackwell. Blackwell, three ball. His first miss rattled in and out. Both these teams undefeated.
I love it. Spencer Dinwiddie at Taft High School. That's a game where they won the LA City Section Championship against Westchester in 2011 when he was at Taft in Woodland Hills. And Spencer Dinwiddie, now a Los Angeles Laker. I'm Randy Rosenbaum along with Tarek Fattal from SB Live. This is SoCal Prep Report. And it's fitting that we have Dinwiddie back in LA to play for the Lakers.
Yeah, he's coming back home. That footage it's old enough that it was called the Pac-12, and how ironic now it won't even exist next year. I thought that was kind of interesting.
That's what you took out of it?
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's actually what I took out of it. I'm like, man, here's the world we live in now where the Pac-12's not even going to exist. But obviously the Lakers are going to benefit from Spencer Dinwiddie. He can shoot it. He can be aggressive. He can play make. He does a lot of good things for the Lakers.
Yeah, he had 10 points in the win last night. First game he played for the Lakers, he had 7 assists. He's performed twice, and the Lakers are 2-0 with Dinwiddie in a uniform for Los Angeles. All right, obviously he played in the LA City Section game that won a championship, so let's talk about that bracket. A little later, we're going to have David Trujeque. He's the coach at Laces. His star players with us, Donovan, Cornelius. They're going to talk about the Unicorns, and they are still very much alive in the Open Division. So let's talk about that Open Division. We'll start with a game that was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. Not that Birmingham won the game 83-71, not that Alex Dupree scored 45 for the Patriots, but they came from 21 down to win it.
Yeah, I think there was a point they were down 21, and then there was another point they were down 17. So they were chipping away, but Nick Halleck is a really, really good coach. He knows how to get his players fired up, and Alex Dupree, as you mentioned, 45 points. Sometimes it takes a terrific performance to overcome a big deficit, and that's what they got.
Dupree's an interesting guy. He's played all 5 positions at Birmingham, moved to point guard about a month ago, and he's really taken over the ball club. Loves being the point guard, and he's engineering the Patriot offense. Next game we want to talk about is King Drew. King Drew 77-60 over Palisades. Josan Webster, who's the son of the head coach Lloyd Webster, a big evening, 25 points.
I've always pegged King Drew as the team to beat because I think they're the best defensive team. And you know the old cliche, defense wins championships. So I think in high-pressure games, if you can rely on your defense, because we all know the ball doesn't go through the hoop every single night, you can't always rely on your offense, I think King Drew is the team to beat.
Defense wins championships, you're right. Chatsworth has offense, and they also had defense against Westchester on the road. Chatsworth, the number 4 seed over Westchester, who was the 4 seed. Chatsworth was the 5 seed. You can see Arenas, huge double-double, 28 and 14 for the Chancellors.
So what gives Chatsworth the chance? Look, I think they've got the best player in the city. I know we got Donovan Cornelius who's going to come on the show. He's a great player in his own right, but Elijah Arenas is, 28-14. He scores 40, 50 points in games. That's what makes Chatsworth dangerous, is they got the best guy on the floor, and that can get you a championship.
Yeah, you've been talking about him all season long, and there's no question he's Gilbert's kid. Gilbert had a great NBA career. He could flat out play. So we'll see if Arenas can get through the next opponent, which is not going to be easy, which of course is Laces. And let's talk about Laces, the Unicorns, knocking off top-ranked Cleveland. This was the 8-1 game, and 8 beats 1. Does that mean Laces, the Unicorns, are the Cinderella story?
No, why not, right? I think we all knew the parity in the city was something to watch out for, and what epitomizes it better than the 8 knocking off the 1 seed. And Laces did that with good defense and good coaching. So can they do it again? We'll find out. I know that the schedule is a little bit interesting for the Open. They got to wait around for their semifinal game, so we'll see how that goes.
It's time to bring in Laces. David Trujeque. He's been there 4 years, has already won a city championship. It's old hat, although he won it in D2, beating Van Nuys a couple years ago. And Donovan Cornelius. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. First and foremost, congratulations on the win over Cleveland. Does this make David Trujeque the coach of the year by pulling off that upset. Coach, how do you feel about the win over the Cavaliers? And are you the coach of the year?
It was a great win for our ball club. We felt like we had the game plan to come off and pull it off, and we did that. There's a lot of great coaches in the city, and I'm just getting started. So wherever you want to put me on that list, I'm happy just to be on that list. To be honest.
Well, you're high on any list, that's for sure. All right, Donovan, take us through that basketball game against Cleveland. How you played, I know you had a good evening, you had 18 points, but how you felt about the game, and at what point did you say, hey, we have the number one team by the neck in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think we just stuck with our game plan, and I think we executed it like perfectly. And it was just a hard fought game the whole time. And yeah, I think we just played good defense, and our offense just came with it.
Donovan, what in your game has improved the most this year as a senior?
To be honest, I feel like me as a point guard, I feel like I got better as a point guard from ninth grade and my sophomore year. I usually play like a shooting guard, but this year I feel like I got more comfortable in my position and leading the team.
One of the challenges, Coach, during this postseason is the schedule. We were talking about it a little bit off air. You won your opening round game, and you got to wait around a whole week before the semifinal. And if you do win that one, you got to wait another week before the final next Saturday. What are you doing with your time after getting used to playing 2 or 3 games a week? Now you got to wait around.
Yeah, we've been really competitive at practice. To be honest, we don't want any drop off. So the guys are a little sore right now. To be honest, I looked at them today and I was like, all right, maybe we need to take it back a little bit because we already had competitive practices to start. I think that's why we are in the position we are today because of how hard we practice each and every day. So tomorrow will probably be a light one, get some shots up and get some rest and be ready for Saturday.
All right, gentlemen, you know who's next. It's Chatsworth. Chatsworth has Elijah Arenas, a ballyhooed performer, just a 10th grader, averaging 30-plus points a game. Coach, your thoughts on playing Chatsworth and facing up against a terrific player like Arenas?
Yeah, I think, when you're playing a player like Arenas, I actually played Lonzo Ball his sophomore year when I was an assistant coach at Venice. And almost like the same feeling, right? Lonzo was a little bit more dynamic, could do assist, rebound. But Arenas, the same thing, right? He gets his guys involved. His passing is underrated in some sort. And his guys consistently hit open shots for them. So, you do have to worry about Arenas and make it hard for him. But you also have to, give credit to the guys that have stepped up and made those timely shots when you watch them on film. They hit corner threes, big offensive rebounds. So, Arenas is going to get his, and you just want to make it hard for him. And hopefully he misses a couple.
When people talk about Laces basketball, they think of Donovan Cornelius. When they think about Chatsworth basketball, they think about Elijah Arenas. So there's the marquee matchup right there, Donovan. How can you maybe put that to the side and focus on what's important, which is winning the game?
Yeah, I mean, our big goal right now is just to get to the championship. And as a team, we feel like we are able to beat Chatsworth. But, we just got to play hard and play how we've been playing the whole season, pretty much.
You guys have the championship from a couple years ago when you beat Van Nuys. Let's talk about that experience, because Donovan's back here, okay? So it's another championship game. I know it's at a higher level, but you won that game. And Donovan, I want to start with you, because you had that big third quarter, that explosive third quarter where you scored 13 points to propel the Unicorns to the title. Do you think that'll help you, that championship atmosphere, playing in a game like this, even though it's a semi, but again, it's a huge game?
Yeah, I feel like that experience will definitely help me on Saturday and possibly the championship. But yeah, I feel like that definitely has prepared me and will prepare me for future games. So yeah.
David, talk about your chances. You got to feel pretty good now. You knocked the number one team out. You're down to the final 4. you got to feel like you have as good a chance as anyone to win the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a inner confidence as a ball club that we have. I know a lot of people don't follow our schedule, but we had a nice tough schedule, right? We played Rolling Hills Prep, who's in the Division II AA semifinals. We played Marina, who's in the Division IIA semifinals, and we were able to compete really well against those teams, picking up a win against Marina, playing really close against Rolling Hills Prep. So our schedule really made us prepared for this. We have inner confidence within our group, having 10 seniors, that we're ready for this moment. We've been working toward this moment since, summer basketball, playing in summer league to start.
Well, guys, congratulations on a terrific year to get to the Final Four. I got to call you guys the dominant Ds, David and Donovan. Dominant Ds. We'll see if you dominate against a very solid Chatsworth team. Thanks, guys, for coming on tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Good guys, good basketball team, but a very dangerous opponent.
10 seniors. You got a couple. Clearly, there's more players than Donovan that have been at a city title championship before. And like you mentioned, it is special. It's at a neutral site. It's at Pasadena City College. So they're doing a crop of games for the semifinals. And then the finals will be at Cal State Dominguez. So these next two games are going to be neutral site, college-type arenas. And so it makes it a little bit more special. And maybe that experience will help Laces.
Also sometimes makes the shooting a little bit different, too, in the bigger arenas. Not as easy. You got to adjust to the bigger arenas than a high school arena. All right, let's talk a little bit LA City section girls basketball. We'll start out again in the quarterfinals. Birmingham and Crenshaw. Birmingham able to win this. Birmingham has a very balanced team. They have 3 or 4 players averaging in double digits. You can see they knocked off Crenshaw 76-62.
I think we're seeing a collision course between the two teams, which is Westchester and Birmingham, and it's really not much of a surprise.
Next team we want to show is King Drew. They got a victory over Palisades. King Drew won it by double digits. You can see a 17-point margin there. Easy win for King Drew. Then we move ahead to Westchester and El Camino Real and Tarek. This wasn't close. Westchester won by a huge margin.
Again, yeah, the collision course is intact, and I don't think anything is gonna derail that from happening. Again, there you see it. I mean, look at that lopsided score. So 2 teams, the best teams in the city, and hopefully they're playing for the city final next weekend.
Yeah, Mariah Blake averages 23 a game for Westchester. Candidate for the city player of the year, 21-5. And Hamilton over Granada Hills. I mean, Granada Hills has had some great teams over the years. We knew they were a little down in comparison to where they were in the past. Hamilton's a very good team. In fact, they went 11-1 in the Western League. Their only loss in the Western League was to Westchester, who they're going to play in the semis. Hamilton over Granada by a big margin.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning Granada had potentially the best player in the city, and she got hurt. So Coach Ray Colston in his first year did a good job with the Highlanders. Tough season.
Let's turn our attention to CIF Southern Section boys basketball. We'll start in the Open Division, and then we had some terrific games. Harvard, Westlake, and Sierra Canyon is the first game we want to talk about. Trent Perry, by the way, Perry had 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, but there were others who contributed in this complete blowout.
Yeah, Nicholas Kamei, I think, had 14 points and 8 rebounds or something like that. The truth of the matter is how dominating that score is. Don't forget, Sierra Canyon beat Harvard Westlake earlier in the year, so for this flip, it's actually quite astonishing. I don't know if Sierra Canyon has ever been held to less than 40 points in the past, 6, maybe 10 years. So
it is amazing.
Very dominating performance for Harvard
Remember, in the
Westlake.
first game, Sierra Canyon went on an 18-0 run.
Correct. And that's what pretty much, that was the gut punch. And I think we always have to remember Harvard Westlake was coming off for a trip to the East Coast and had to play Notre Dame. Then a couple days later played Sierra Canyon. So they might have had some heavy legs. But David Rabibo has the Wolverines ready to rock.
I know you love Roosevelt Eastvale in pool
Yes.
play, and they beat St. Pius. St. Pius, a very good basketball team. Obviously, these are the best teams in the section. You see Braden Burries with another solid night. He's an all-star. That's not a surprise. Not an easy game, but Roosevelt Eastvale is looking very good.
St. Pius, I think, might have been leading at halftime. This game is interesting because with the win, Roosevelt has pretty much punched their ticket to the Open. So even though the Open final, So even though there's one more game left to play in pool play, it's moot. It doesn't matter. the Mustangs are going to the Open Division final. Who they'll play is yet to be determined.
Here's another interesting score, and again, these teams are now eliminated to getting to the finals in pool play. But Jay Serra with another win this year over Mater Dei. They had never beaten Mater Dei in basketball.
Correct.
You see they get them again by 8 points. Rancic and Fowler, their 2 stars combined for 39.
Look, Mater Dei's without their best player, Brandon Martinson. He's a sophomore. He's their best defender. He's their best scorer. I mean, he's their best player. And in high school, look, when you're not with your best guy, you're looking for other guys to step up. Not to say that they can't, but it's hard in the Open Division when things are so important because your life is on the line, basically, your basketball life, and things are very different for the Monarchs without Brandon Martinson.
One team that's very alive is St. John Bosco, and they hammered Centennial of Corona. Big win here, 72-55. Again, I'm kind of shocked that Corona Centennial didn't play better. Not that they didn't win the game. I thought it would be much closer than this. There's talent there. This is an impressive score for St. John Bosco.
Well, Corona Centennial doesn't have Eric Freeney. So Eric Freeney going to UCLA, he got hurt in the Harvard-Westlake game and didn't play in the fourth quarter. And that game was still a 10-point deficit. That's not that bad. He did not play against St. John Bosco. You're talking about a kid going to UCLA, just like I mentioned about Brandon Martinson out of the lineup for the Mater Dei Monarchs. Look at that, look at that discrepancy. And now Centennial has been playing with their best player all year long, along with Carter Bryant and McDonald's All-American. But you take him out of the equation, things are going to change.
There was a great finish in D1, Windward and Los Alamitos. Guy was on our show just a couple weeks ago. Gavin Hightower is the hero here. Wins at 77-75. He hits the shot at the buzzer in the second overtime to win the contest.
Yeah, we have footage of it. Here it is. I mean, this is really someone that you just can't stay in front of. And so just this little fadeaway jumper, he gets it to go in double OT at home. Los Alamitos was actually leading quite, I don't know if it was double digits, by 7 or 8 points with 5 or 6 to go, 4 minutes to go, and Windward was able to force overtime, a second overtime, and then Gavin Hightower is only a junior and has all kinds of Division I offers, seals the game.
And the Windward Wildcats very much alive in D1. They've won 17 straight games. This is a team that nearly made the Open Division. Again, 17 straight victories for Windward, thanks to Gavin Hightower. Next, it's time to talk about the favorite in D1, Notre Dame Sherman Oaks. They get by Santa Margarita pretty handily here, 63-50. I saw like 4 different totals for Mercy Miller. I went with your total of 31.
That ended up
but
being...
I saw 27, 29,
Right.
33. He scored 31, right?
Correct. 31 was the official, right. He did have 31 points. There's a nice alley-oop there from Mercy Miller to Lino Mark. And Mercy Miller, look, I mean, it's been the story for the season, at least for me, and that's him not being in the ESPN Top 100 and Paul Biancardi saying he's 101. It's just ridiculous. He'll be in the top 100 in the latest April rankings, so he's just an outstanding player.
In the 3A quarterfinal, Alemany and Linwood. And I want to talk about this game because Linwood has a great player in Jason Crow Jr. He had 40 points here, 42 to be exact.
Correct.
And they lose the game. This is a great win for Alemany.
It is, and look, it just goes to show you how strong the Mission League is, right? So Alemany, I believe, only had 1 win in Mission League play. They only beat Chaminade, and then that's it. That was their 1 win in league. They go to 3A, and they're in the semifinals. So really, really quality team, but just in a tough league, but that prepares you for the playoffs. Good for the Warriors.
Tarek has been waiting for this moment on this show all night long. Great
dramatic.
Oak hosting Crespi. 2AA comes down to this.
Yeah, freshman Jackson Allensworth with no time to go. I mean, that's ESPN top 10 worthy right there, Randy. Wins the game. It was a second-round game. Crespi, led by Coach Derek Fisher, right, goes down all the way to Temecula, where Great Oak High School is, and they had a long bus ride home, losing at the buzzer. I believe the final score was 66-63. Freshman hits a bank half-court shot. Great Oak advances.
That being said, Derek Fisher did a terrific job in his first year at Crespi and Encino.
Listen, you have to give him you have to tip your cap. They got to the Mission League finals, in the Mission League tournament finals, and finished second in that league. People thought they'd finish 4th, maybe even 5th. For them to finish second is quite remarkable, and pretty much the whole team comes back.
Time to talk about the key games, which are semifinal games. This could be fun. We're going to pick Tarek's mind, his brain on these key games. First off, city section, Birmingham, 17-12, playing a very good King Drew team, 17-11. Who do you like?
I like King Drew. I like King Drew. Birmingham coming off an emotional comeback win. Now they've had a whole week to prepare, but I think King Drew, again, that defense is really what's going to be the key to that game. So give me King Drew.
Laces is 18-10. Chatsworth, 16-13, the other semi.
10 seniors. They've been in the city before. They've played. I like Coach talking about how they played Rolling Hills Prep and Marina. I think they're prepared. I think Laces is going to be an 8 seed in the city final, and they're going to play King Drew in the city final.
Wow, 2 inner city teams. That would be interesting. All right, CIF Southern Section, open pool play, Bosco and Harvard Westlake.
Oof, man, this is a tough one. I got to go Harvard Westlake at home. This is where I'll be on Friday night. Let's real quick history. Last year in the open division play, St. John Bosco beat Harvard Westlake early in pool play, and that ended up being the deciding factor due to a 3-way tiebreaker, and the Braves advanced to the open final. This one's a little more cutthroat. Win and you advance. That's it. This is like in an unofficial semifinal. I do think, however, Harvard Westlake will win the game.
This game I find very interesting. Roseville, Eastville. They're going to go to the finals.
Correct.
They have to play Jay Sarah, and I'm proud of what Jay Sarah's accomplished.
Sure.
They proved in this tournament by beating Mater Dei they deserve to get the open division bid. How will Roosevelt approach this game when they really don't need it?
Correct. I don't think that they'll rest guys. I think there's a pride factor, of course, at that level. You want to go 3-0 in open play or open division pool play and so on. It's a good question. I don't know the answer, but it really doesn't matter. And that's
Your
the
job
truth.
here is to know the answer.
Yeah, no, I don't quite know. But, I would find it wrong almost to sit your guys. You want to play the game.
Notre Dame, as we move into D1 semifinals, Redondo Union. Notre Dame's the favorite, but Redondo Union's playing well.
Redondo Union's very good. Reggie Morris is a great coach.
He
They've
is.
got S.J. Madison and Devin Ringer and a freshman and Chris Sanders. Very good game. I actually think it's the better matchup. Etiwanda and Redondo Union played down to the wire. If Etiwanda would have won that game, I think that would have been a more dangerous matchup for Notre Dame because of that defense. Redondo Union's very good, but they're going to get up and down with Notre Dame, and that's what Notre Dame wants to do. So I think Notre Dame will win that game.
Damien and Windward. Remember, Windward's got this 17-game winning streak. Damien out of the Baseline League, very good.
Yeah, I think Damien's going to get him. Windward's got to go on the road. I'm pretty sure the game's in Laverne, and I just think Nate Garcia, the big 7-footer, and Xavier Clinton, the guard, really going to play well for the Spartans. They're not coming off an emotional win like Windward is. 2 overtimes. It's going to be a tough turnaround for Coach DJ Gay.
Good friend of ours, Harvey Katani, still winning basketball games.
Yes, he is.
He's unbelievable. Rolling Hills Prep gets a victory over Culver City. You can see tomorrow they're going to play a very good Thousand Oaks team. McLean's a great player for TO. 74-62. But Katani every year has his team either winning the title or close.
I think talent-wise, Thousand Oaks has the edge. Elias Chin, Trent McLean, Noah Cotton, they got some guys. Coaching-wise, though, preparation, dialed in, focus, Harvey Katani's literally one of the best to ever do it. So that is an absolute toss-up. I believe that game's at Rolling Hills Prep. Give me Katani and the Huskies.
Let's go to girls basketball in the city section. Open semis. We have Birmingham and King Drew.
I don't know enough about those teams, if I'm being honest with you. However, I do think, like we said earlier, the collision course, so I'm going to stay on that kind of just train right now. So give me Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham's too balanced. I think they do win the game. And I think Westchester, who's already beaten Hamilton's got to be a big favorite.
Yeah, no question. I just think Westchester and Birmingham, it's going to be the girls' open final.
Southern Section Open semifinals, even though it's pool play, it's come down to 4 teams. So in actuality, they're all undefeated in the pool play. So the winners of these games are going to be in the championship. So these are, in essence, semifinal games. Mater Dei at Sierra Canyon.
I just don't see the Trailblazers getting slowed down. And, I think people sometimes forget Alicia Kamaki, the head coach at Sierra Canyon, is a Kevin Kiernan disciple per se, and that's the coach at Mater Dei who's been doing it for so long. But I think in this case, what is it? The student isn't there like some cliche about like the student, the pupil like taking over the master or something like that?
Something like
Yeah, Sierra Acadian's going to win that game.
Janessa Cotton's a very good player for Mater Dei, but it won't be enough. She's a 6'3" center. You're right. Sierra Acadian's too good. Ontario Christian, Kalina Smith averages over 30 a night against the great Etiwanda team. Etiwanda's got Kennedy Smith, who's 6'1", Grace Knox, who's 6'3". They're huge.
Yeah, Etiwanda is not just good, they're mean. And I think that's how Coach Standaluse likes it. The fun aspect of that game is almost like a passing of the torch. Sounds a little dramatic, but you got Kennedy Smith, McDonald's All-American, California's top player, and then you've got Kalina Smith, this freshman star. So it'll be fun to see them go at it, but I don't think Ontario Christian's going to have enough to take down Etiwanda.
Let's talk a little Super Bowl. We had a local product out of St. John Bosco, Trent McDuffie, who just played tremendous in the secondary. Cornerback for the Chiefs. Chiefs won the game, obviously, over the 49ers, 25-22. 3-year starter at St. John Bosco. Played on a state championship team in 2017.
It's just another example of the hotbed of talent that Southern California has. You could throw a ball in any direction. You're going to find a high-level athlete playing something, whether it be football or maybe a more niche sport like water polo or lacrosse. Someone's doing something and they're going pro in something, and here's just another example of the highest level. I mean, here's a little footage of McDuffie. I will tell you that Coach Jason Negro from St. John Bosco will tell you that when they're training and weightlifting and coaching these kids up, it's to prepare them for the next level and the level beyond that, and McDuffie is an example of that.
And there you're defending Deebo Samuel, who's one of the best in the NFL. McDuffie really has become an all-pro cornerback. Chiefs are great in the secondary. They're great everywhere. That's why they're the two-time Super Bowl champions. But we wanted to pay homage to McDuffie, who has really become a great pro player. Mater Dei gets the #1 wide receiver, Chris Henry Jr. He's out of Ohio. He's going to transfer to Mater Dei, play for the Monarchs next year. Big-time, big wide receiver. His dad, by the same name, was a great player for the Bengals. Chris Henry Jr., what a weapon for the Monarchs.
Right. The big question is who's going to be throwing him the ball. You know, everyone was thinking there was a rumor of Julian Lewis, who's from Georgia, committed to USC. He just reclassified, the big #1 quarterback in the country, blah, blah, blah. He was going to come to Mater Dei because there's no NIL in Georgia. Well, They just changed that rule. I don't know if you know that. So I don't think he'll be coming out to Mater Dei, and I think he's going to stay put. So who's going to throw Chris Henry the ball? We're going to find out.
From the good to the bad. Obviously, Mater Dei is as good as it gets. St. John Bosco is as good as it gets in high school football in Southern California. Windward, we just talked about their basketball team, drops their football program, not enough guys.
Yeah, and I think the word is sad, of course, you're dropping a program, but I believe it was only 8-man football. And not to take anything away from 8-man football, but, there's just not a lot of interest there. If you want to take football seriously, you got to go 11-man, and 8-man it just takes a certain type of, 8-man's just not it. And so I think for Windward, you got to look at, if you're going to take it seriously, and if you're not, there's really no middle. So they had to X the program.
You know what I missed tonight?
I don't know. No.
You should know these things about me. Your basketball poll, the top 10. I know you finished off with that.
Yeah, I had my final rankings.
But you do have some great players in baseball.
Sure.
So you have, I know, some great pitchers.
I just did the top pitchers to watch, and it's a list that just goes on and on. But yeah, I narrowed down some of the top. Tommy Bridges at Harvard Westlake and Levi Sterling at Notre Dame.
Scheibelbein at
Yeah, that's right. Corona's loaded with guys. I mean, if you go to that list, that's all on scorebooklive.com, and you can look up baseball and you'll see I've got their stats and how fast they throw a fastball or a slider and things like that. So more of that content to come. I'll be doing outfielders and things, lists of the top players in the Southland.
And you're tomorrow at?
Harvard Westlake, St. John Bosco.
It's going to be a good one.
Oh, that's going to be a good one. That'll be a really fun one. Those two teams are Harvard Westlake for sure. St. John Bosco is kind of on the bubble in certain polls, but that's basically like a national rankings type team.
I love Matt Dunn. He's a great coach at St. John Bosco. But David Rabibo, his teams are just so tough at Harvard Westlake. And then the state champion.
Yeah, Matt Dunn is, and he would tell you this, Matt Dunn's having a very challenging year. He's got too many cooks in the kitchen a little bit, and he's trying to keep everybody happy and trying to keep keep everyone on course. He's having a hard year, but hey, all that to say, they're 1 win away from the Open final.
Speaking of too many cooks in the kitchen, we're going to go get a late dinner. We're done here. Okay. For Tarek, I'm Randy. We'll see you next week right here on SoCal Prep Report. Good night, everybody. I'm really disappointed there wasn't a top 10 poll.
Is Mahomes the best ever?
He's the best right now.
Is he the best ever?
It's hard to say. There is no greatest ever.
So Tom Brady's not the greatest.
Tom Brady could be, but there is no GOAT in any sport. Sorry.